Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're diving into one of the lowest proofs ever reviewed on this channel, and still legally a bourbon. With a great age statement, it's TINCUP Fourteener. Big shout out to my buddy Phil, thank you sir for sending this over. Phil's the man. In the sweet Liquid Ministry bottles, nice and heavy. Not sponsored by Liquid Ministry, but if they want to go ahead and sponsor the channel, I think they're fantastic, so that'd be an easy win for both of us, wouldn't it? So here it is, 14er TINCUP, release number 3, which I believe is the 2025 release. So I think that's the latest release. There's been 3 of these. It's crazy, 3 of them. These come in a pretty cool, like, tin, cardboard with tin lid container, and the bottle's inside. I'll have a picture of it. 14 years old, 84 proof, compute, 42% alcohol by volume. So, there you go. Pretty low proof, 84. I don't think, I've drank 80 proof stuff before, right? But I don't think I've ever reviewed one on the channel. So, thank you again, Phil. Really appreciate it. So, is this worth the money? Now, look, I recently saw one of these, but didn't buy it for $68.99, so $69 hairs. Let's just round up, $70 hairs. This will set you back. It is 14-year-old MGP cut with that Colorado mountain water to get down to 84. So, we hate that they cut it, but 14-year-old bourbon's a nice age. $70 hairs is, I don't know. We'll have to, depending on how this tastes, we'll have to discuss that value proposition. But it's not horrible, right? But considering the low proof, is it a touch too much? That's the big question tonight. So, color, it's light, but, I don't know. I've had lighter stuff, right? And it's been higher proof. So we're going to just let that sit there, okay? Let's give it a nosing. What are we waiting for? Let's get into it. Give it a nosing. Now, I've never had any other tin cups. None of them. The regular, the 10-year, or the 14 before. So, release number 3 of the 14er is my baptism into the TINCUP fountain. Let's give it a nosing. Damn, does that smell good? And I'm going to be sad I didn't pick up a bottle of this, guaranteed. At least on the nose I am. Traditional MGP flavor here, just like a lot of oak, well-seasoned oak, caramels. A lot of citrus. I get like a bunch of orange on here. Oh yeah, like an orange, oak, citrus, caramel. Man. Wow. Wow, this kind of reminds me of like, I know it's a rye, but like the Bulleit 12-year rye and Bulleit 10-year rye. The Bulleit 12-year was a limited edition for last year. And obviously that had rye scents in there, but I'm saying on the nose it had the citrus, it had the oak, right? Had the caramels. And that was $55 hairs though, right? And I know it's 12, not 14, but the proof was a little bit higher. So that's my 2 cents on the nose. That on the hatch. Oh my God, is that good? Wow. Wow. I dig it. I should have got one. Dang, I dig it. Okay, so on the mouthfeel, I get a little bit of like, now this is my first drink of the night, but on the back, like, a little bit of spice, get a touch of tobacco in the finish. You get the oak in there. It's like a little bit of oak spice in there. Caramel. It's not super sweet. And it's thinner on the mouthfeel, and it's not a long-lasting experience. Okay, but the age here does give you something special. So I dig it. You get the caramels, the oak, like I said, the citrus comes through a little bit, but not as much as on the nose, I gotta say. And that's probably the difference there between the rye and the bourbon, MGP wise. Anyway, dang, this is good. It almost wants to be tannic on the finish, but it's not, but it's close. I dig it. I think if they up the proof a little bit, maybe I could feel like this would be a really bad at like barrel proof, honestly. Like it's kind of tannic at 84 proof. So I feel like it'd be, for me, there's never too much oak, but I feel like for some, if this was like 100 or higher, it would be a little bit too tannic for a lot of you. But I think they could raise this to 90, and that would really elevate it. So Bourbon Bill's flavor rating tonight, A+, absolute buy. Value-wise, let's discuss in the form of some comparisons tonight. First up on the comparison wheel tonight is an LE, but sadly probably never going to be repeated. Russell's 10-year LLME, and I lied. It's not really a LE limited edition, but it is LLME. But this was a happy accident, and this is, I'm for sure, 14 years old or more. And at the grand proof of 90, compute 45% alcohol by volume in the mini. Just one of my favorite whiskeys. Sweet heavens, does that smell good. It's all cherry, leather, oak, caramel, turkey funk down there. Oh yeah. Oh. Russell's 10 LLME is better. Thicker mouthfeel. And it's really the elevated proof, but I will say it's a more comprehensively put together sip. It's got fruits, oak, caramels, leather, kind of all there. I'd say the 14er is very good though. This just feels a little more like two-noted compared to the LLME. Back to the 14er. Yeah, I mean the 14er is very good. You know, it's not you're not getting much of an age difference, but what you are getting is that the 14er is a little bit thinner, and it's just not as complex. But that's a very good for the TINCUP 14er because that's a yearly LE release that you could probably find. You know, so price on these though was like, you know, what, $40 here, something like that. Now again, you're not going to be able to get LLME, but I wanted to see how something 14, 15-year-old at 90 would compete, and it competed pretty well. So that's good news for the 14er, even though I like this a little bit better. Bulleit 10-year rye, 95.5 rye from MGP, right? 10 years old. This one is 91.2 proof. Now the 12-year, which had some 17-year mixed in, is probably a better comparison, but I don't currently have one of those open, and this 10-year is pretty dang good. $50 hair, so you know, about $20 hairs cheaper than the 14er. Not as old, also MGP, but yes, this is a rye, and the 14er is a bourbon. Keep that in mind, I know, but we're just doing MGP versus MGP here. Color, pretty light as well, but honestly, right on point with the 14er. It's not any darker, and it's not any lighter. Bulleit 10 rye on the nose. It's like, why does this smell so similar to the 14er? You know, I mean, I know it's MGP, but guys, I mean, I know one's a rye, one's a bourbon, but the flavors here aren't that far off, at least on the nose. Well, I should say the scents aren't that far off. There's oak on here, there's caramel. That citrus note is on here as well on the rye. Now, you do get some rye spice notes on the rye, but you know, the oak levels, the oak's a touch less on the 10-year, but it should be, right? But it's not far off from the 14er. So nose-wise, you know, the 14er might edge it out, but it is very close. Down the hatch on the Bulleit 10 rye. Oh, good Lord, is that good. Oh. Probably not a cheaper available shelf rye than that. Man. Obviously a lot of rye spice here, which is good. Fruity. You got that citrus note, and then the oak is very good, along with the caramel. Back to the 14er. And then, like, right here is where the value proposition starts to deteriorate, right? Like, the 14er's got a little bit more oak to it, caramel. But this Bulleit 10-year rye, I might prefer more. And I know it's a rye, and that one's a bourbon, but there's just more flavor going on here, but the oak's dialed back. So, like, if you're the biggest oak hound in the world, and you know I consider myself an oak hound, you're gonna prefer the 14er. But I think the mouth feels a little bit better on the rye, and a little bit the spiciness of the rye adds more to the sip. So there is that. So, you know, $70 here feels fine. I mean, it's obviously more expensive than this, but this is a real bargain in today's market. And you're not gonna find this, but if you have this, do you need a 14er? No. I mean, it's not the same flavor profile, but this is better. Alright, well, that leaves us with one final comparison just for you. We drift away from MGP to a shelf staple with double-digit age statements coming in at the same price or less money. Knob Creek 12. And that's right. Your eyes didn't deceive you. 100 proof. You knew that. 50% alcohol by volume. Look, $72 hairs in PA. That's expensive, but $53 hairs at Costco. So your mileage may vary on the price, probably in the 60s, but that's still cheaper than the 14er. Okay, now, it's 2 years younger. 2 years younger, I get it. It's not MGP, obviously it's Beam, but it's 100 proof. What is that? Like 16 proof points higher. That's a difference. Also in the mini. Now, you know that Beam is my jam if you watch this channel, and you know my love affair for Knob Creek 12. Color, darker. Oh yeah, color's darker than the 14er. On the nose of the Knob Creek 12. Oh man, that rich brown sugar, dank oak, caramel. It feels almost mapley molassesy compared to what we've been drinking. Man, it's got a little bit of an orange, but it's like an orange candy and not like an orange peel citrus that we are getting on the 14er. Different noses, I prefer the Knob Creek 12, but if you're not the biggest Beam fanboy, you might prefer the nose on the 14er. I will say that, but it's not as deep, dark, and rich. And that's a factor of the proof, really. Down the hatch, Knob Creek 12. Oh my God. Oh, feels like you're drinking maple syrup compared to the other stuff tonight. Who would have thought 100 proof would have felt thick and rich like that? Okay, so there's a nuttiness here, right? That wasn't present in the other stuff we were drinking tonight. A lot of caramel, a little bit of nuts, a lot of oak, brown sugars. It's a different flavor profile, it really is. But the 14er is just so thin in comparison, and it's got this really rich oak on the finish, like oak spice on the finish, but it feels uncomplex compared to the Knob Creek 12. I prefer the Knob Creek 12 by a little bit, a discernible bit. So there's the problem. Is the 14er pretty cool? Is it good? First off, is it good? Yes. Yes, it's good. If you want to try 14-year MGP, I can't think of a better price point to just have a try at. I really can't. Is the proof low? Yes. Does that turn off a seasoned bourbon drinker like myself? No. If that's my pour for the night, that's a damn good, and I'm walking away happy as a clam. I really am. If you got Knob Creek 12, you got like a Bulleit 10 or Bulleit 12 rye. I don't think the bourbons are MGP from them, but I could be wrong. But if you got the ryes here, you just feel like you don't need a 14-year bourbon, I feel like you're okay with these. Okay, you're okay with these. Right here, you're okay with that. So you don't have to get it, but it is different. And if you're just a big MGP fan, I think it's worth a buy. Don't let the low proof scare you off. It does deliver a great flavor. So thank you, Phil. Really appreciate the opportunity to try this tonight. I kind of want one. The bottle's pretty cool. Like the cardboard tube's cool. Even though I just said this stuff's better, but still brings something just a little bit different to the table, and that's sometimes what we want. Hey, that's a good summer sipper. You can just crush that at the barbecue and not be hammered. It's only 84 proof, right? So if you like what you saw tonight, please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Have a good evening, everybody.